And welcome to War Games episode number 14. Yes, 14, the Slammiversary edition. Oh wait, but Slammiversary was back then and this is now. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. You already know what the deal is. And we are reviewing a great night of professional wrestling. I think that we saw a lot with professional wrestling this week. You know, we had AEW Dynamite that killed it. We had NXT that killed it. So without further ado, let's get into the picks, shall we? So starting off first with NXT, I think that NXT put on a great show. You know, we had a crazy beginning and we had a crazy ending. So without further ado, let's get into the picks. And my number 3 pick is going to be what started off the night, which was going to be the very unique tag team match between Io Shirai and Tegan Nox going toe-to-toe with Cody and Candice LeRae. Now, it started off the show with a very huge brawl between all 4 competitors, which turned into a match. So I was very interested in seeing what was going to happen, and it was great. I think this match really proved that all 4 of these women are great athletes, and all 4 of them have potential to be a great NXT Women's Champion. I mean, obviously you have the NXT Women's Champion, Io Shirai, who's doing great thus far in her reign. But, you know, this, I think this showcased, all 4 greatly. I mean, we saw a lot of cool moves from Io Shirai and Tegan Nox. I think their chemistry is absolutely phenomenal. And what they did was great. But then Dakota Kai was doing her thing, as well as Candice LeRae, getting their stuff in as well. But, at the end of the day, Dakota Kai did walk out of this match and left kind of Candice LeRae high and dry. This led the opportunity to Tegan Nox hitting that shiniest of wizards onto Candice LeRae, and that opened the gate for Io Shirai going up to the top rope and hitting her world famous moonsault, which surprisingly her legs landed on Candice LeRae's face, which that kind of looked brutal, and got the victory with Dakota Kai leaving. After the match, I do want to point out that Dakota Kai did get her comments in, explaining why she is the true number 1 contender. But then, Rhea Ripley got involved, and then now next week, Rhea Ripley will go one-on-one against Dakota Kai to see who will be the true number 1 contender for Io Shirai's NXT Women's title. But for the match overall, for a fun way to start things off, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 4 stars. I think that this was a cool start for everything, and it showcased all 4 women greatly. And I think that, it was a fun way to start the night. At my number 2 pick is going to be, oh my goodness, this match is going to be Johnny Gargano going one-on-one against Roderick Strong. Now, this match, how it happened, let's flash back to last week where Johnny Gargano was about to win, but then Roderick Strong, Roderick Strong, but it was thanks to the winner, Bronson Reed, who hit a very large splash. I want to say it was like a Superfly splash or whatever, onto, I believe it was Johnny Gargano, and got the win. So that this match was kind of based on that after a confrontation backstage. And this was a great match overall. I think that, and I'm not just saying that because Johnny Gargano is my hero, but it was great. It was a great night of professional wrestling. And especially this was a great display of professional wrestling. I mean, 2 artists of the game showcasing one art, because both of them had an answer for each other's moves. I mean, you even saw in the beginning right here that they were just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's so great. However, in the end, Johnny Gargano did hit the final heartbeat DDT, apron DDT, onto Roderick Strong and got the victory. I'm going to give this match a 3.5 out of 4 stars. I think that it was a great match, especially with 2 great athletes who have had decades under their belt, especially in the independent wrestling scene. One from Cleveland, Johnny Gargano, and one from the California scene, Roderick Strong. Loved it all. But obviously this triggered Roderick Strong after a frustrating loss to Johnny Gargano to fuel the fire to get the Undisputed Era back on their feet again, which they would later prove later in the night after attacking the NXT Tag Team Champions Marcel Bartel and Fabian Aichner, a part of Imperium. And now finally my number 1 pick is going to be the triple threat match for the qualifying rights, I guess you would say, of the NXT North American Championship between Timothy Thatcher, Dexter Lumis, and of course Finn Balor. Now, I do apologize. I said in the last episode that Finn Balor was a part of the triple threat match. I am wrong. I do apologize. He is in this one. But what was interesting about this match was the fact that these three individuals are so different in their athletic ability and their wrestling style. So it was, to me, it was interesting. And to me, I was very looking forward to this match the most. And it proved to be great. I think that Finn Balor had some great moments in there, as you can see right here with a sling blade. Of course, Timothy Thatcher, the hard-hitting British strong style that he has, hit a very lethal uppercut as well. But then finally, when everything seemed to go Timothy Thatcher's way by trying to put Finn Balor in a submission move, here comes Dexter Lumis out of nowhere and puts him into, I want to say, it's a kind of like an Anaconda Vice kind of maneuver, which I'm hoping I'm getting that right. I hope I don't get copyrighted or anything for saying that. But taps out, or not taps out, but Dexter Lumis does make Timothy Thatcher pass out and get the victory, and moves on to NXT TakeOver 30 alongside Bronson Reed for the chance of becoming NXT North American Champion. I love this match from start to finish, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 4 stars. I think that this match really was interesting. All elements were put into this one match, and I think that this was a true definition of who would be the strongest and who would survive. And would it be the weird one? Would it be the one who was a former NXT champion, one of the longest NXT champions in history? Or would it be the hard-hitting style that was champion all over the world, especially in the UK scene, that betrayed Matt Riddle and, completely went on his own? So this was a great match, and I loved it. So like I mentioned before, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 4 stars. Overall, NXT, I think they did better than last week. I think that their structure was way better. When you have matches like, the debut of Mercedes Martinez in NXT against Shotzi Blackheart as a part of the Robert Stone brand, especially when you have all the top picks that I just had mentioned. Makes for great television. So I'm going to give this night of NXT an A-. I think that they did great. But I think they can do better as time goes on. I know that, just because we had an appearance from the NXT Tag Team Champions and they defeated Everrise, and Undisputed Era attacks them. I mean, it is what it is. But very impressed with NXT. Now on to my AEW top 3 picks. My number 3 pick, taking on Hikaru Shida, the AEW Women's Champion. Now the story going into this match, which I kind of found out the time I'm recording this, was the match itself, I believe, was for a contract with AEW, because Diamante does not have a contract with AEW. So I think this test of going against the AEW Women's Champion was really like a great match for her, as a real showcase for her to be signed with AEW. Maybe it was a message to Tony Khan, to Cody Rhodes, to Kenny Omega, whatever the case may be. But this was a great opportunity for Diamante. So they showed a great promo of Diamante, as you can see right here. Very great way of kind of giving us a good explanation of who Diamante is, what's her motives, what's her goal in AEW. So, like I mentioned before, this is all for a contract per se. But from start to finish, Diamante impressed. You can see right here where she does these unique maneuvers. I think there was at one point where she did an apron maneuver, which you could probably see right here. And it was great. Very impressive. Like as last week with Ivelisse. However, again, the AEW Women's Champion, Hikaru Shida, proved why she is champion. And hits her with I want to say it was a Shining Wizard, a running knee. Whatever the case may be. That definitely rhymed. And gets the victory over Diamante. Very, very, very great match, I think, especially for the women's division, because we really don't see a lot of women's division matches on Dynamite, and I think we mostly see it on Dark. But it was impressive. Diamante was impressive. I hope, I kind of had the hope she might have won, especially since it was a non-title match. I mean, if it was for the title, I understand Hikaru Shida winning. But it is what it is. I'm going to give this match a 3 out of 4 stars. I think this was a very impressive bout, especially for the women's division. And I'm hoping to see more. At my number 2 pick is going to be the tag team main event, which is going to be AEW champion Jon Moxley alongside Darby Allin, who got his back as of late, versus Ricky Starks and Brian Cage, the FTW heavyweight champion, which I'm guessing they're labeling them as Team Taz. This had all started after Darby Allin was attacked by Ricky Starks and Brian Cage a couple of weeks back at Dark. And then this kind of transpired this past episode of Dark, where Jon Moxley had saved Darby Allin from yet another attack. So this kind of, boiled up into this one big tag team match. It was interesting because before the match even started, Ricky Starks and Brian Cage were talking their smack. Of course, Taz was, because Brian Cage apparently doesn't want to talk on the microphone. But there's a reason why Ricky Starks is a former NWA television champion. I mean, he has great mic skills, as you can see, and it made for great television. But as soon as they came out, Darby Allin coming from the skies, attacking both Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. So this was already crazy to start off, and then Jon Moxley would eventually come in and even things out. And, bell rings, and here we go. I think that we saw the display of power from Brian Cage. We saw the absolute offense from Ricky Starks. But, we also saw a lot from our AEW World Champion, with a couple moves here and there. And also this amazing finish thanks to Darby Allin, where he gets a skateboard, he puts thumbtacks on it, and he hits Ricky Starks on the back with it, which ends up making Ricky Starks bleed. And then, of course, Darby Allin gets the pinfall victory for his team. It is actually after this match where it is announced that next week Darby Allin will go one-on-one with Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. So I'm really interested in seeing how that's going to go. So with this match, I'm going to give it I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give it a 3.5. I'm hoping I'm doing that right. Stars out of 4. I think this was a very entertaining match. I think it helped everybody because it showcased the promo skills of Ricky Starks. It showcased the power of Brian Cage. It showed off the craziness of Darby Allin, especially him getting the pinfall victory, and of course the craziness of our world champion. So very great match. Before I get into my last pick, though, I believe it was after or before this match, it was before this match that MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, had declared his candidacy to become AEW World Champion at All Out. So I'm really interested in seeing how that rivalry actually plays out. Maybe Wardlow gets involved. Who knows? But maybe MJF does take the title off of Jon Moxley. I think that it's going to be a very interesting rivalry, especially after the championship defense against Darby Allin. So who knows? I'm very interested in seeing what happens there. And finally, at my number 1 pick is going to be the first match that kicked off, and the match I think that this whole show was revolved around, and that's the AEW TNT Championship between Cody Rhodes, who's defending his championship once again in an open challenge, against Warhorse. Yeah, Warhorse. For those who don't know who Warhorse is, you can see that he's very popular in the wrestling community, as you can see right here with a little video. And he's a great professional wrestler. I think that, he's a great independent professional wrestler. As you can see, a little snippet of my friend Kenny Johnson. Shout out to Kenny Johnson for making the documentary. And just such a great story. Kind of the throwback, I think, in homage. To me, he reminds me of a lot of Ultimate Warrior, especially with the energy and the passion and the drive that he has. And it definitely proves with this match. I mean, the fans wanted him, the fans got him. Warhorse did get a lot of offense in, especially with this double kick, or the stomp kick to the back of Cody Rhodes, which you can see right here. It was kind of like a coup de grace, I want to say. But finally, Cody Rhodes did point out the knee of Warhorse, which was a major factor in the match. And, Cody did apply the figure 4 leg lock onto Warhorse and got the submission victory. I'm going to give this match an overall 4 out of 4 stars. I think that, once again, the TNT Championship Open Challenge proved to be great, as it has been for the past couple of weeks. And, Warhorse proved to be better than just a 5-minute match, according to Cody. So I think he was playing a little bit of a heel there. That's just me personally. But it was after the match that made my mind go insane, because for some reason, Alex Reynolds and John Silver of the Dark Order started attacking both Warhorse and Cody Rhodes. Warhorse kind of pushed Cody out of the way and kind of took the beating first, which I thought was kind of cool, but it kind of confused me. And then all of a sudden, the coolest debut in AEW history comes about with the debut of Matt Cardona, aka Zack Ryder. He's in AEW now. Look at this. Like, I'm so happy for Matt Cardona. Shout out to him for being so cool. I love his new theme song, which I'm hoping to see when he debuts next week in a tag team match with Cody Rhodes to take on the Dark Order. And I'm very happy to see him in AEW, and hopefully they'll treat him right. So overall, I'm going to give this match a 4 out of 4 stars. I think that this showcased not only Cody and of course his TNT championship and the value and the prestige it has, but it also valued Warhorse and being this underdog and showing that how he could hang with Cody. So I loved it. I'm going to give this a 9 of professional wrestling. For AEW Dynamite, I'm going to give it a perfect 10 and give it an A+. I think that they did from top to bottom everything perfect. I loved every single moment of it, from the women's match to the 8-man tag team match with Best Friends and Friends taking on the Inner Circle. I think that it was great. Even the MJF promo. MJF. I said that right. MJF promo. I think that was absolutely great. So until we meet again, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. You already know what the deal is. And until we meet again for the next War Games episode, I will see you guys again soon.